Welcome to the Art of Thinking. My name is Dr. Purna Prasad. How do we learn? Learning is a very interesting phenomenon. In order to think, you need to learn. And when you learn, you need to have a knowledge content there. Our Vedic rishis basically told us, here is how you learn. And this we are telling you because of our experience. They say, first, capture the content in an unbiased manner. Let's just think about it. How do we capture? We see through our eyes, or we hear through our ears. Of course, if a person is blind or handicapped, they may use the braille system using their tactile or touch. Here they say, do it in an unbiased manner. We have an issue there. How can one be unbiased? What is the definition of being unbiased? Well, if you go and hear something, read something with a preconceived notion of what you see in the book or what you hear through those audio streams is just your bias. The real content of what is present in the book or in the lecture is lost. So, the Vedic Rishi said, go there without a preconceived notion. Do not approach knowledge by thinking, well, it may be good, well, it may be bad, I don't like this, I like this. Then what is in the brain will be seen in the book, and what is in the book will never come to the brain. First is unbiased learning, unbiased studying. Then you experience it. You see if your a priori experience really supports that learning. Or you basically go through the tutelage with a teacher to take you through that experience. Once you have that confirmation from your intellect, accept it, use it, and benefit from it. So this whole unbiased approach leads to that art of thinking we are discussing right now. Sometimes when we hear something, our immediate reaction is, that is impossible. Well, let's think about it. Why do we say it is impossible? It is impossible because our limited intellect is not allowing us to see the possibility. But if you are unbiased, you say, well, it may be possible. Let me further investigate. That is the true trait. That is the true quality of an unbiased learner. It's neither good nor bad. After you experience it, especially with evidence-based experience, then your gut will automatically tell you whether it is good, bad, or indifferent. Even in modern science, the same approach is very effective. You go there with a bias, your statistical analysis will show the bias. You go with a bias, then your alternate hypothesis and null hypothesis will show the bias. But once we inculcate that habit of going there without the bias, an unbiased approach, then we have an opportunity to grasp that knowledge and Think about that knowledge. Develop that art of thinking. The same is true as our sensor systems experience the world. As soon as you see a color, you basically form an opinion. I like this color. I don't like this color. Do a small experiment there and question yourself, why is that I don't like this color? Or why is that I like this color? And as we go deeper and deeper into these leaves of thought, a fascinating world opens up. It basically tells us how much we don't know. It basically tells us that what we know is very, very minute compared to what we don't know. And that was the stress of the Upanishad Rishis. Recognize what you don't know. Recognize what you know is very limited. And recognize that in order to stay awake, you need to learn continuously. This continuous learning is applicable even to today's scientific world, the modern scientific world. Because that brain which was exposed to the Vedic knowledge is the same brain that is exposed to the modern science. The way it thinks, the art of thinking that is impregnated into our mind is the same thing. The intellect is very similar. Hence, let's take the wisdom of the ancient rishis, scholars, and then submerge it, merge it with the modern science thought process. Then maybe we will arrive at a body of knowledge that would actually fascinate us. Because here we are innovating on a new art of thinking. How do we compare the ancient science, the Vedic science, and modern science? There is a fundamental difference in the way they approach the body of knowledge, either to understand it or to analyze it. The ancient rishis used the art of thinking. Theirs was experiential learning, experiential investigation. Whereas the modern science is very experimental. We have to demonstrate our result through an experiment and should be able to repeat it to get the same result. Then we say, yes, there is evidence that it can be repeated. Whereas in the Vedic period, each scientist, each Upanishad and Vedic scientist experienced the same phenomenon in different ways. But in the end, it all came to that single truth that was realized by these rishis. Now, this type of a very different dimensional thinking is yet to come to our modern science. I do see some figments of it appearing now. Now, let's take the example of sun. If you look at the Vedic analysis of the sun, they basically say that is the energy that gives life to the earth. It is a life-giving, life-sustaining energy. You come to modern science, they say, oh, sun is a star. It's got nuclear reactions happening there. Now here, back to the Vedic science, they say the sun is the one that makes you see because the sun is in your eyes. Let's think about it. In the Vedic times, the only time when you could actually see the expanse of the earth was when there was sunlight. So, sunlight enables sight. Whereas here in the modern science, we are trying to study the characteristics of the sun, the properties of the sun, but the spirit behind that science is not yet available. When we talk about the spirituality of a scientific phenomenon, modern science blinks. It's difficult for them to conceive it because it cannot be expressed mathematically. Hence, this difference in the art of thinking between the Vedic science and the modern science and the understanding of it will strengthen and embellish our approach and our art of thinking.